Vamavyanatimirandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiditam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukadeti Pranamami Hari Priye Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukadeti Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki Srimati Radharani ki Radhashtami Mahamahotsav ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be here with all of you today. And today we're celebrating a very, very beautiful day. Actually, everyone generally thinks Janmashtami is the highlight of the year. But we say Radhashtami is the after party. Because we know that without Radharani's mercy, there is no opportunity to get the favor of Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada was a young boy, then his father, Gaur Mohan Dey, whenever a sadhu would come to their home, then he would say, "You please pray for my son that he becomes a devotee of Srimati Radharani." Because actually Srimati Radharani is the worshipable deity, the worshipable personality of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Generally, when there is prasadam, if there are 12 items in the prasadam menu, how many are sweet? How many? 1, 2? Maybe 1 or 2. If there's 12 items, 1 or 2 are sweet, must be. So similarly, the Bhagavatam is 12 cantos, but one of those cantos is the very, very sweet canto. You can't have all 12 items sweet. Of course, if you're Gujarati, then you put sugar in everything anyway. Dal, everything has sugar. But ultimately, there's only one sweet. So the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam is very, very sweet. And if the Bhagavatam's 10th canto is like the cake, then the icing on the cake is the pastimes between Radharani and Krishna. Because in these pastimes we experience the equinox of love. Sometimes it's said that the 12 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam are like Krishna's body, isn't it? And then we say the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's smiling face. But some commentators, they say the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually Krishna's heart. And if the 10th canto is Krishna's heart, then there's 5 chapters in the 10th canto which are very, very special. Chapter number 21 is called Venu Geet, the song of the flute. Chapter number 31 is known as Gopi Geet, the song of the gopis. Chapter number 35 is known as the Yugala Geet, the song of the divine couple. This is the chapter once the rasa dance is over and Krishna leaves and the gopis go, and they are singing. And then chapter number 39 is a very, very painful chapter because it's known as Viraha Geet, the song of separation. And then chapter number 47 is entitled, what is it entitled? Brahmara Geet, the song of the bee. Because that's when Uddhavji comes back to Vrindavan to give a message and Radharani is speaking to the bee. So if the 10th canto is the heart of Krishna, then these 5 chapters are said to be the 5 life heirs of Krishna. Because in these 5 chapters of the Bhagavatam, we hear about the pastimes of love that are exchanged between Krishna, the gopis, and ultimately Srimati Radharani. You see, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, Vaishnavas are worshippers of Vishnu or Krishna. Vishnu, he said. Karshnas are worshippers of Krishna. But Gaudiyas are worshippers of Srimati Radharani. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once made a very controversial statement. He said most people are interested in Radharani because of her connection with Krishna. But we are interested in Krishna only because of his connection with Radharani. You see, the Gaudiyas, they are in the camp of Radharani. They are in Radharani's team. They are on Radharani's side. One of the Vaishnava poets, he says, Krishna, you will be glorified for generations for lifting Govardhan hill. But the world will never glorify the gopis who carried you in their heart for so long when you left Vrindavan. The Vaishnava poets say, Krishna, you are ready to forgive the aparadhikas. Aparadhikas means the offenders. So the Vaishnava poet says, Krishna, you are ready to forgive the aparadhika. But then the Vaishnava poet looks at Krishna and says, but Krishna, if you become aparadhika, if you keep a distance from Srimati Radharani, then we will never forgive you. So therefore, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they are always in the camp of Srimati Radharani because they know that Srimati Radharani is the ultimate epitome of love. There's only one thing greater than God, and that is love for God. And if love of God was to ever have a personification, then that personification would be Srimati Radharani. Most of the world did not know about the glories of Srimati Radharani. In fact, even Krishna didn't understand the full glory of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Krishna had to come to this world as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see, in this world, if there is a very, very powerful devotee, then they can make anyone else into a devotee, isn't it? The more powerful they are as a devotee, the more they can make anyone a devotee. But Srimati Radharani is such a powerful devotee that she can make God a devotee. That's how powerful Srimati Radharani is. They say if you ever find a theology where the devotee cries for God, then you must understand this very advanced. But if you find a theology where God cries for the devotee, then you must understand this more advanced. But if you ever find a theology where God becomes a devotee to cry for himself, then you can understand this is off the scale. This is Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And therefore, Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Krishna Nomi Swarupam. He comes in the Radha Bhav. He comes to experience what is it that Srimati Radharani is experiencing when she comes. What is going on in her heart? One time Srila Prabhupada was walking on Laguna Beach. And as they were walking, Srila Prabhupada looked out in the ocean and he saw a surfer. So Prabhupada asked one of the disciples, what is this? The devotee said, Prabhupada, this is a surfer. Prabhupada said, no, sufferer. And then they walked a little bit further and then Prabhupada stopped and he said, did you hear? He said, yes, Prabhupada, that's the waves. Prabhupada said, no, that's the sound of Srimati Radharani's heartbeat when she goes to meet Krishna. That is the sound of Srimati Radharani's heartbeat. Srimati Radharani is showing us how to love Krishna. If you want to love Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says you have to learn the art of how to cry for Krishna. You see, in our life, we cried for so many things, isn't it? Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, and the very next day, you threw it away. She broke my heart, he broke my heart. Crying for so many material things, so many lamentations, so many regrets, crying. Madhvacharya, he says, if you would add up all of the tears that the conditioned soul has shed for lifetimes, it would be enough to fill an ocean. But our teachers tell us, you have to learn the art of how to cry for Krishna. Because if you cry for Krishna, Krishna has to come. When a husband and a wife are having an argument, I don't have personal experience of this, but I have observed. Second-class intelligence you can learn by observing. When there is an argument between the husband and wife, there's something that the wife can do which is like game over. Once she does this, argument finished. What is that? Starts crying. Once the wife starts crying, it doesn't matter how illogical it is. You have to just give up. So Krishna is Purusha and we are Prakriti. We are all female. And if we want to conquer Krishna, if we want to conquer Krishna's heart, then we have to cry for Krishna. You see, when Krishna left the rasa dance and the gopis were searching after Krishna, then they sung the gopi geet, isn't it? Tavakathamritam tapta jivanam kaviviriditam kalmashapaham Shravana mangalam shrimadatam bhuvikranantiye bhurida jana. They sang these beautiful verses explaining the separation they were feeling from Krishna. But did Krishna come after they sang the Gopi Geet? Did he? Do you remember? Did they come? Did he come? No. But what happened after they sung the Gopi Geet is they went onto the banks of the Yamuna. And on the banks of the Yamuna, they began crying. Crying and crying and crying. Krishna, where are you? You left us. And when they began crying, Krishna had to come. Therefore, there is the cry of the samsarika, the one who is entangled in material existence. But then there is the cry of the sadhaka, the one who is desperately seeking Krishna. And ultimately, there is the cry of the siddha, the supreme, perfected devotee in the spiritual world who knows the art of how to cry for Krishna. So we must develop this desperation. You know, nowadays I'm traveling around the world, so practically every few days I'm in an airport. And then I have to take a flight. And when you're 6'5" tall, then you have to try to get the emergency seat. You need some leg room after all. So every time when I take a flight, I try to get the emergency seat. A bit more comfort. So usually nowadays, 8 out of 10, I have a success rate. So one day I came into an airplane. We were flying to Cairo on Egypt Air. So I came. I was in the emergency seat and it was amazing. There was no one there, so I thought, brilliant, whole flight, all the leg room, all the space. This is Vaikuntha. And then just as the plane was closing, the last few passengers came in and one big family came and they filled up all the seats. Now the emergency seat is very, very good because you get a lot of leg room. But there's one very dangerous thing about the emergency seat. You know what it is? Who usually hangs around the emergency seats? Babies. Yeah, babies. They have the top leg. So everything was good. And then as the flight was going onto the runway, crying, crying, crying. This baby, I thought, oh no. All the leg room in the world, but now I have to listen to this crying the whole flight. The cry of the samsarika, distress. Then Krishna inspired me. What I decided, because I remembered, Srila Prabhupada said, when you chant Hare Krishna, you should chant like the cry of a child for the mother. So what I did is I closed my eyes, and every time the child cried, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, chanting my japa, trying to internalize the cry of the baby in my chanting for Krishna. So every time it cried, I just closed my eyes and chanted, like crying for Krishna. And it was very beautiful actually. You try it out next time, see if it works for you. And when that flight landed, I said, may the cry of the samsarika become the cry of the sadhaka, so that one day can be the cry of the siddha in the spiritual world. Because we have to learn the art of how to cry for Krishna. So Radharani is the one who has so much desperation for Krishna. Radha. Ra means rag. Dha means dhavati, to run. So Radha literally means one who is running after her attachment for Krishna. For us, we are not running towards Krishna. The devotees are trying to drag us towards Krishna, isn't it? Prabhu, are you coming to the program? No, I'm tired. No, you come. So we are unwilling. But Radha is the one who has so much desperation for Krishna. The one who worships Krishna the best. Anayadadhito nunam Bhagavan Hare Tanno Vihaya Govinda Tanno Pritaraha. Some say, where is Radharani's name in Bhagavatam? She is not mentioned anywhere. But they don't know the secret. That Sukadeva Goswami was scared. He was scared to mention the name Radha. Because he knew, if I mention the name Radha, then maybe I'll go into ecstasy. And for me that will be fine. But for Parikshit, he only has 7 days. So if I go into ecstasy, 7 days will go like this. So better I don't say the name Radha. But actually, the commentators say he mentioned it in this verse. Anayaradhito nunam Bhagavan Hare Ishvara. There was one gopi amongst all the other gopis. And Anayaradhito, the way she worshipped Krishna, the way she loved Krishna, the desperation that she had for Krishna was like no one else. She was unparalleled. So Srimati Radharani is the great inspiration for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because she has given everything to Krishna. Once she made a prayer. Srimati Radharani said, when I leave this world, when I leave this body is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and ether. When I leave this body, may the earth element of my body mix with the dust of Braj, so Krishna will constantly step on it. When the water element of my body, once I leave, may that water merge with the Yamuna, so that Krishna can bathe in those cooling waters. The fire element of my body, may it merge with the flame that Krishna uses to see himself when he decorates himself with all his ornaments. The air element of my body, may that mix with the breezes in the kunjas of Vrindavan, so that the malati flowers and their beautiful fragrance will be carried to Krishna's nose. And may the earth, the space element of my body, merge with the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, so that Krishna can have extra space to run and play and dance and jump and enjoy with his friends. Isn't it beautiful? Every element of her body to be used in Krishna's service. Manasa deho geho jo kichu mo arpila tue pade nanda kishore. May my mind, my body, my family, my elements, everything I have be used in Krishna's service. So like this, Srimati Radharani is a great inspiration for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Srimati Radharani doesn't just give inspiration, but Srimati Radharani is also giving great protection. If you take shelter of Srimati Radharani, she will always protect you. The proof is that one day in Vrindavan there was a great saint. And the great saint, he was so engaged in his bhajan that he forgot about everything around him. Nidra hara niharaka divijito chatyantagino chayo. He was so absorbed in chanting Krishna's names that sometimes he forgot to sleep and sometimes he forgot to eat. And that great saint, his name was Raghunath Das Goswami. And one day on the banks of Radha Kund, where he was doing his bhajan, a tiger came. A tiger came and began sipping water from Sham Kund, which was right next to it. But Raghunath Das Goswami was so absorbed in his bhajan that he was completely oblivious. Sanatan Goswami was looking at the scene, and then Sanatan saw something incredible. Krishna came out of the blue, and Krishna was standing guard to make sure the tiger did not come anywhere close to Raghunath Das Goswami. Sanatan was flabbergasted. He's so absorbed that Krishna came to protect him, and he didn't even see. He was completely oblivious. Another day, Raghunath Das Goswami was sitting on the banks of Radha Kund, and the sun was coming down, beating down, the midday sun. Again, Raghunath Das Goswami was so absorbed that he was completely oblivious to the blazing sun. Sanatan Goswami was again watching, and this time he saw something even more amazing. This time Krishna didn't come. This time Srimati Radharani came. And Srimati Radharani came behind Raghunath Das Goswami, and with her own sari, she was shading him. And as he was chanting, she was standing there taking all the heat on her body, which began and became drenched with sweat. Sanatan Goswami looked at the whole scene, and after Srimati Radharani left, Sanatan Goswami came to Raghunath Das Goswami and he said, "Do you realize what you've done?" He said, "I was chanting my rounds." Yes, you were chanting your rounds, and you were praying, "Please Lord, please Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service." But you have contradicted yourself because you are engaging them in your service. So, you should build a bhajan kutir. And from that moment in time, there was a tradition in Vrindavan that the Goswamis would build bhajan kutirs so that they would not trouble Radha Krishna to come and protect them. But yes, Srimati Radharani is protecting us. The blazing sun represents the blazing sun of lust, the blazing sun of greed, envy. And if we take shelter of Srimati Radharani, then she protects us from our destructive desires. We are our own worst enemy. Don't think that the government is your enemy. Don't think that your boss is your enemy. Don't think that those people in the congregation who you don't get along with are your enemy. No, no. We are our own worst enemy. But when we take shelter of Srimati Radharani, then she helps us to purify all of those anarthas which are within our heart, which ultimately lead to our own self-destruction. We take shelter of Srimati Radharani because she is giving a recommendation to Krishna. Once they had printed a German edition of Nectar of Devotion. And in that book there was a beautiful picture where Srimati Radharani was pushing one of the gopis to Krishna. And when Srila Prabhupada saw that picture, a big smile came on his face. And he said, yes, this is Srimati Radharani. She is pushing everyone towards Krishna. She is encouraging everyone, you go to Krishna. And she is petitioning on your behalf that yes, Krishna, you must accept this devotee. And Srila Prabhupada said, in this way, we must take shelter of Srimati Radharani. She is very kind. She is very, very forgiving. In fact, if you go to Sri Vaishnava temples today, then standing next to Narayan is Sri Devi and Bhudevi, who are expansions of Srimati Radharani. And the Sri Vaishnavas, they say there's a very deep meaning for this. Because when a sinful person comes in front of Narayan and says, "Oh my God, I've done so many terrible things now, you please forgive me," then Narayan is looking at the devotee and saying, the person, sinful person, and saying, "You done so many bad things, you keep coming here asking for forgiveness." And then Narayan will look at Sri Devi, and Sri Devi will say, "He is very, very sinful. He is very, very shameless. But no, even though he is sinful and shameless, you have promised to give your mercy, therefore you must give your mercy." And then Narayan will turn to Bhudevi, and Bhudevi will say, "How can you count this person as a sinful person? After all, they have come to take shelter of you, so they are pious. So you have to give them mercy." In other words, Srimati Radharani is always looking for the good. Srimati Radharani is always looking to benefit the devotee. Once Radharani, she had painted a picture of Krishna and Radharani. And Radharani was holding a garland, but she was looking away from Krishna. So Prabhupada was looking at the picture and meditating on it. And then he looked at Radharani and said, "Oh, Radharani has another boyfriend?" So she was feeling so bad. And then Prabhupada said, No, Radharani is looking for Jadurani, so that Radharani can give her a garland for painting such a nice picture of Krishna. Yes, Srimati Radharani will give mercy. Srimati Radharani is very, very kind. But in this age, if we want to receive the full mercy of Srimati Radharani, then we take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embodying the mood of Srimati Radharani. You see, it's said that once Sita Devi, she was in the forest with Ram. And she said, "Everything is good, Ram, but every other day you're killing all these demons. With your weapons, with your bow, your arrow, you're killing all these demons. Can't you be non-violent for once?" So then Ram said, yes, don't worry. In my next incarnation, I will do better. So then in the next incarnation, Krishna came. And then even as Krishna in Vrindavan, it said that every day Krishna was killing one demon before lunchtime. So one day Radharani came to Krishna and said, "You promised. You said last time that you will do better." Krishna said, "I'm doing better. I'm killing them, but at least this time I don't have any weapons in my hand." Krishna doesn't use any weapons. Sometimes Sudarshan comes, but mostly when he kills Putana with his bimba lips. When he kills Keshias is with his tiny fists. When he kicks Shakatasura is with his baby legs. So Krishna said, "What's the problem? I'm doing better. No weapons." Radharani said, "It's useless. Next time when you come, I will have to enter your heart so that you embody a different level of compassion." And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the heart of Srimati Radharani. "Hey Mata Bhakta Bhav Gaudiya Vaishnavas Apani Achari Bhakti Gola Prachar." The Bhav of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is fully Srimati Radharani. So, we are so fortunate. The world did not know about Srimati Radharani. Krishna did not know about Srimati Radharani. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, then Krishna understood the glory of Srimati Radharani. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he revealed to the world the glory of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, if you want to understand the deepest secret of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you want to understand the deepest secret of Krishna Leela, if you want to understand the deepest secrets of the spiritual world, it's only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that reveals it. Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnave Rastane Ekanta Ashraya Kore Chaitanya Charane. In Jagannath Puri, one person is advised, if you really want to understand Bhagavatam, Ekanta Ashraya Kore Chaitanya Charane, you have to take shelter of a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you understand Bhagavatam, the deepest secret, through a Krishna Bhakta? No. Because even Krishna doesn't know the deepest secret of the Bhagavatam. So how can a Krishna Bhakta reveal to you the secret of Bhagavatam? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows the secret of the Bhagavatam, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And therefore a devotee who has taken full shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they can reveal to you the deepest secret of the Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada has given us entrance into the inner chamber of the spiritual world by showing us, teaching us, describing to us the love of Srimati Radharani. But now we have to become purified. We have to give up material desires. We have to let go of all our attachments. We have to fully cleanse our heart of all the anarthas. And then when we become a receptive recipient of that knowledge, then we will be able to understand the profound gifts that Srila Prabhupada has given us. So on this day of Radhashtami, we're not only praying for Srimati Radharani's mercy, but we're praying that may I become pure enough to understand the incredible gift that we've been given and fully awaken this realization of the most amazing type of love that happens between Krishna and his most confidential devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Srimati Radharani ki jai, ISKCON Mahotsava ki jai. So we have 5 minutes, is it? Or finished? 5 minutes. If anyone has a question, a comment, yes.
We generally hear that or glorify the Lord or even Radharani, the lotus eye one, beautiful one, right? Why specifically lotus is referred here? Why not champa, chameli? There are so many flowers are there. Why specifically lotus is emphasized here? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Why specifically is Radharani's eyes, or all of the spiritual personalities, their eyes, why always referred to as the lotus? There could be many explanations. One of the explanations given by the acharyas is that the lotus is very special. Because if you see, the lotus is in the middle of the water, but not one drop of water can remain on the lotus. As soon as any water comes, it slides off. And therefore the lotus represents amala, no contamination, no imperfection, no no contamination. And therefore, when we talk about the lotus eyes or the lotus mouth or the lotus feet, what it refers to is the shining purity, the purity that's represented in those features, in which there is no imperfection, there is no contamination. So that is one explanation that is given amongst many, many others. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. Maharaj, so I heard once that those who are following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have two separate identities, they with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and with Krishna himself. But I couldn't find the details, if you can please.
So sometimes it's said that devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have an identity in the spiritual world in Krishna's Leela and simultaneous identity in Chaitanya Leela. So yes, it's described by our acharyas that in the spiritual world there are, broadly speaking, two destinations. One is Goloka Vrindavan and the other one is Nitya Navadvip. So it's said that in the spiritual world there is the eternal Navadvip. And in that Navadvip, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are going on. And therefore it's said that there are three options for the Siddha. Either they can take a birth in Nitya Navadvip, or they can take a birth in Goloka Vrindavan. And it's said, I think you will go for option number 3, that you can have a birth in both. So yes, how can we understand all these things? As we enter the spiritual world is the world of unlimited possibility. And therefore it's said that even in the spiritual world one can have multiple forms. One can relate to Krishna in multiple ways. And because in the material world our desires are always blocked by the limitations of matter. But in the spiritual world, our desires have no limitation because there is no limitation of matter. And therefore in the spiritual world, according to whatever desires one may have, Krishna presents unlimited opportunities. Hare Krishna.
So, like you mentioned in the class, we are in the camp of, because we are Gaudiyas, we are in the camp of Srimati Radharani. So, like most of the people in Vrindavan, they go focus on worship of Srimati Radharani. So, then what is the subtle meaning in our life?
So we are in the camp of Srimati Radharani as Gaudiyas. And then in Vrindavan, everyone is worshipping Srimati Radharani. Even the rickshaw driver will tell you. So what is our perspective? We are approaching Srimati Radharani through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yatha yatha gaur padar. It's mentioned that when you dive into the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you go to the depths of the Gaura Leela, then when you emerge from that ocean, then you will arrive on the banks of Vrindavan. And standing on the banks of Vrindavan, Radhika and Madhav will greet you and take you into Vrindavan. So we are worshipping and placing our focus on Srimati Radharani through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and through the process of Nam Sankirtan, because we realize that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the heart of Srimati Radharani. And therefore, our approach to Vrindavan, our approach to the pastimes of Radha and Madhav are very much through the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, even Gaurkishore Das Babaji, he says, when you are in one land, you should worship the king of that land. So when you are in the land of the material world in Kali Yuga, then you should only worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because actually through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu everything will be revealed. And so in our line, in the line of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he very much encouraged us, because Srimati Radharani is our worshipable mother, but she is so high, she is so pure, she is so beyond our conception, therefore we approach very much through Sri Chaitanya. So we are worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but what about if our love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so deep that we do not go anywhere else? If you do that, your life will be a great success. It will be amazing. But when you develop love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then naturally you will develop love for Srimati Radharani, for Krishna. Because that is the inner, that is the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You cannot love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and not develop love for Srimati Radharani, because that is his very essence. The Bhagavad Gita will tell you the words of God. The Srimad Bhagavatam will tell you the activities of God. The Chaitanya Charitamrita will reveal to you the mind of God. And the mind of God, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is that he's going into ecstasy, remembering the love that Srimati Radharani had for Krishna. And therefore, if we truly love Mahaprabhu, then we will also love Srimati Radharani, because that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has become completely intoxicated by. Okay, I see so many more hands, but shall we continue, or should we end, or I don't know, like the time schedules? Okay.
So my question is Srimati Radharani aware of how much pleasure she is giving Krishna, or is she also aloof and just serving?
These are all topics beyond our conception, but at least theoretically. Krishna is looking at Srimati Radharani, Srimati Radharani is looking at Krishna, and they are appreciating each other's beauty. As Krishna is appreciating how Srimati Radharani is appreciating him, he begins to smile. And when Srimati Radharani sees the faintest indication of Krishna's smile, then immediately her appreciation is increasing. And as Krishna detects that her appreciation is increasing, then his appreciation of her is increasing. And when Radharani detects that, then she is smiling even more. And when Krishna sees her smile, then his appreciation increases. And like this, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipadam Gurnam Rita Svadhanam is an ever-increasing ocean of bliss. So Srimati Radharani, because she has so much appreciation for Krishna, she is always feeling, my love for Krishna is inadequate. I should be giving more. I should be doing more. Therefore she says to Krishna, Aslisya va padaratam pinashtimam adarshanam namahatam kavotu va yatha tatha va vidadhatu lam tato mat prananapastu saevanam. Krishna, it doesn't matter what you do for me. It doesn't matter if you're before me or you make me broken-hearted. I will always serve you because I need to serve you more. I'm not doing enough. So in Srimati Radharani's estimation, because she has so much appreciation for Krishna, there's no question of resting on the fact that she's giving Krishna so much pleasure. Her meditation is always how to give Krishna more pleasure.
Okay, I think we have to stop here. We're going to have to make sure that you encourage Maharaj to come back as soon as possible so they can finish answering your questions. Is that a deal? Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful class. It was perfect. I'm really amazed. Thank you so much. You covered the whole gamut, and I'm very, very delighted. Thank you so much. So, big round of applause for